crescent wrench, a spanner wrench. I'm going to take these knuckles and I'm going to bend them down, down, down. That's going to force this door closer to the door jamb up there, and it's going to lessen the gap there. It's going to raise the door up a little bit. I don't like to use pliers on here because then you get marks on there. You want to take this, you don't want this edge down. If you have this edge down, you could hit the door on it. You know, if you're there and you go down, this could hit the back edge if you're not paying attention. So that's why I go up high, up here. And I'm going to pull down on this, the same amount of force on each one. And if you use too big of a crescent wrench, you might start hitting this back of the crescent wrench right up against the door. So each time you go down, you can put just a slight little mark on your door. And these are 3.5-inch hinges. I've got enough oomph with a small little spanner crescent wrench to where I can still bend these. If this was a 4-inch hinge or a 4.5-inch hinge, I'd have to use a bigger crescent wrench. Okay? Now I'm going to bend this down a little bit. You see how that went down? And look at that. I want to make this one the same. And this one. Try to get in the middle. Because sometimes these have a tendency to kind of go wonky, these two here, because they're a little bit smaller tab than the middle one. You know? So now I can get down there and kind of eyeball that, and it looks like the middle one has to go down slightly, not a lot. Okay? That looks good. That should take up that little bit of gap. That's probably going to raise the door up maybe a 1/16 or so. That's all I want. I'm hoping that the door, I'm going to have a little bit more gap up at the top edge of the door on the side, okay, because remember it was getting kind of close. And I still don't want it to rub on the top, okay? So my next step, I'm just going to let the video camera continue. My next step is to put these hinge pins back in, and I want to try to put the greasiest one I took out at the top. I want to put that one back up there. So I'll just have to make note of that. And I'm gonna start at the third one anyways. That way I can put the first pin in without getting up on my ladder because this thing is so tall. Remember, I got this soffit up here. If I would have tilted this door up right along that wall, I could have hit the top of the soffit and gouged the soffit over there. You gotta be careful with stuff like that. And I think I'm gonna move the door this way so that you can see. That might be a little better. And I'm going to put this pin in and line that up. These are a little bit hard because I'm right-handed, so I've got to be careful. I should have this one pin in my hand, so I'm just going to start right there, one I can reach. Okay, line it up. I should be able to push that down with my thumb, but okay. I'm just concentrating on those 2 nibs. I don't want to, if I bang that all the way down, I could bend that because the rest of the door is not in place yet. Okay, so now I can do the top one. Boy, because I had all that grease stuff, that I should have leaned this door on the inside on top of linoleum or tile. Luckily, see, it kind of went on the face of the door. Luckily, it did not get on the carpet. Because then then we'd be in for that. Okay, now I can move that where it needs to go. Boy. Okay, I have to resituate this door because it's so tall. There. See? It's so tall. Usually you're working with 6'8" doors. There, see? Look at that. And again, I don't want to push that in all the way until I get the rest of the pins in. Let's get you over here. Maybe this might be a better angle. Let's see. Putting these other pins. And at this point, I'm just going to grab the door over here, kind of move it around until I feel it needs to. It can be, see? I just lifted it at the bottom and in. Push on there and in. I'm going to have to wash my hands before I do anything. And now I'm going to just take my electrical cutters. And see, that's all I'm using are these. See? I'm holding it up like that, right up against there, and pounding on the top of that, using that, because these hinge pins are real close to the wall. I don't want to tap those in all the way in case I need to do any more adjustments to take this door back down, but hopefully I don't have to. Hopefully I tweak this and not too much, you know. If I did it too much, then obviously, in order to fix it, I got to take the door back down, don't I? Okay, moment of truth is I'm going to have to close this. I'll let you see that. It's closing a little stiff, but let's see here. We got a little bit extra gap here, see? A little bit right there. I see, remember that gap was bigger before? And because I tweaked that hinge, because I pulled over just the ones on the door sideways that way, didn't do anything to the ones on the wall, that helped me push the door over, and now that gap is less. Remember how big that gap was? I mean, it's still substantial, but that's good. And you remember before, this gap wasn't as big as this. It was a little bit smaller. That helped raise that up, didn't it? That raised it up. I like that because chances are, over time, next 5 years or so, if anything happens to this door, what do you suppose is going to happen? Over time, most doors have a tendency to want to sag. And they sag for many different reasons. The screws get loose, the hinge pin starts getting worn out inside, it starts wearing the knuckles out inside the hinge, and then your hinge is kind of sloppy, like this. So what do you suppose the door does? You think the door goes to the right, or do you think it goes to the left? With this type of door, it's going to go to the left, which is going to slightly make it sag. And then you're going to have problems with it. Now with this one, because I've got a nice gap there, if it sags a 1/16 of an inch, is it going to hit the door edge? No. The door jamb? No. I have just enough room, so if it does slightly sag over the years, I'm still not going to have to fix it. Remember what the gap was before? It was fine, but it was kind of tight. It was only about a 1/16 of an inch. Had I have left it, had it ever sagged 1/16 of an inch, would have hit the edge of the door jamb, wouldn't it? Now see, the top is just a hair higher because I moved it over and that raised this up. Remember the gap was a little bit bigger at the top, but that's okay, that's at the top. It's never going to get any higher than that, is it? So, and opening and closing this door is working fine. The door is closing all the way up there. It's not hitting anything now, see? If anything, I could get up there with my rasp, which I think I'm going to do. I see, look at that door. It's kind of closing on its own. That's okay. Everything's fitting on it now. I got everything nice and snug. This is a 17-year-old door.